Hi, this is Lauren from LSP Actions and welcome to the video tutorial for the LSP Breezy Blue Sky overlays. Upon downloading from the website, you'll notice that these are in a compressed or zipped folder. I'm viewing on PC. It may look a little bit different on your Mac, but it's the same thing. It's a folder of high resolution files that's compressed so that they can download quicker and easier for you. So what you're going to need to do first is right click and extract all if you're on a PC. Or if you're on a Mac, you can use the archive utility. But it's very important that you extract these into an open folder. Otherwise, Photoshop isn't going to be able to read these files. So any issues with Photoshop, if you're trying to use them and it comes up with the parser or file format cannot be used, that's because the folder is still compressed. So you just need to uncompress that first. Any issues, do please go on Google, have a look with your operating system, and it will show you how to simply unzip this file. So let's go ahead and look inside the unzipped file. Inside you have the Sky Applicator Actions version 2. These help you apply the skies. I can also show you how to do this without the actions in this video too by hand if you want to. And then you have the 10 LSP Breezy Blue Sky, I can't get my words out, Breezy Blue Sky overlays. So first of all, let's get the actions in. These are really simple. You literally double click and the actions are installed. If you can't see your actions, come up here to Window and hit Actions. You're also going to want your Layers panel visible. If you can't see your Layers panel, come up here to Window and choose Layers. The actions will appear at the bottom of your action panel and you can drag this folder to the top or anywhere else you want to. Inside you have the Sky Overlays title. Section 1, choose your Sky Overlay and paint on. Then Section 2, set up the layers. You also have some bonus sky paints I've popped in there for you. The Lemon Sky Dawn, Midday Bright, Late Clear Afternoon, Sunset Calm, and then you can add the sun and the sunset toners. Let me just show you these before we get into adding the skies to show you how they work. These basically create a whole sky overlay to paint and add over your image in Photoshop without even using the skies. So these are some extra things you've got on with some fluffy little clouds there. But for more information on using the Sky Paint section, please do watch the videos for the LSP Painterly Sky overlays because that will show you exactly how to use those. So let's get on with adding a sky to this image. First of all, I like to edit in button mode. So come up here on your action panel and hit button mode. If it looks a bit messy, snap it into a nice neat column and scroll down to find your skies. This way you can literally just click and they're all color coded for you. So I'm going to click the Choose Your Sky overlay. Make sure you open up from the unzipped. If you open up the zip file, it's going to say could not place because no parser or file format. So you need to make sure that you open up from the compressed file there, decompressed. So choose your sky, open up the decompressed file here. Let's make them a little bit bigger and choose which sky you'd like to add over your image. You can roughly get this into place, but I recommend just popping it in, double clicking or hitting enter, and the actions will start to run. They've made it semi-transparent, so you need to hit continue. Reposition this where you want it. You can stretch it, you can shrink it, you can make it bigger or smaller. All of the skies have kind of a more of a solid colour bottom. That's for hiding down here. But it's just rather than cutting it off, it allows you some gradients and blending there. So I'm just going to add this in, and when I'm happy with the size, hit enter or the little check and the actions will finish playing out. A white brush has been selected. Your mode needs to be normal, 100% opacity and around 25% flow. Make sure it's a nice soft round brush. And you can start painting the sky on. Now the sky will affect anything kind of light coloured in your image because we're going for kind of a replacement for a blown out sky here. So anything white or pale it's going to affect. So you can see here, painted over the subject and the grass a little bit. So what I like to do is select the subjects. On the layer mask you can switch to a black brush, maybe a little harder, and you can manually start painting this away from your subject. Or click on your background layer, come up here to select and choose subject. You can also select sky in Photoshop, but I find where this is a little bit of a new feature, it isn't always so good, such a good selection. I mean, this hasn't done such a bad job there. but I much prefer still select and subject. And what that would do is make a nice selection around your subject. You can come up here back on the layer mask for the sky and paint it off. I'm going to grab a black brush on soft, and I'm just going to lightly stroke any of the sky off this background here. If you've got a dark background, it really won't show at all. It's only kind of light areas that this sky is going to show. So let's just very, very lightly blend that in along the bottom there. And that's it, we're done really. You can move the sky layer about to reposition. You can change it for another sky. You can just get that working until you're completely happy. If you want to add additional editing onto the sky, perhaps you want to blur it. You can see this image does have a shallow depth of field. If you want to change any toning or colours, if you want to make it kind of more dynamic, or if you want to kind of mute it down, this is where the next section of the actions come in, which is select sky, make sure you've clicked on it first, and set up the layers. So I'm just going to play that, and you can see it's just set up a load of editing layers for us. Each one that's named, you can use them with a white brush, same settings, click on these black masks and paint on if required. The solid paint's good if you want to kind of keep the colour of the sky and you just want to mute it in perhaps along the horizon. Rich colour, that will do, really bolden that sky up. Mute and calm, exactly what it says on the tin. You paint this over and it will calm that sky down. So perhaps it's a cooler day, or you want to take some of the vibrancy out of the sky there. I'm just going to undo that. Pinkify, well, again, exactly on the tin. It will add some pinky in. Creamify, creams it up. Just going to get rid of pinky there. Colour wash, you can pop this over the sky and you can change this to any colour you want by double clicking the little colour box and pulling it around. So you can kind of add your own toning and colouring into the sky there if you want to. They're very, very adaptable. Drastic contrast, this will add some real, really pick out the brightness of the clouds and the colour of the sky. Deepen and darken will darken the sky down. Perhaps it's a little bright for your image and you want to add some darkness in there. Lift and brighten does the exact opposite. It will brighten that sky right up. Tone down and boost. Again, exactly what it says on the tin. It will move the tone down and it will just boost that sky up just a little bit. So you can use these actions to really adapt the sky. You can also come on the adjustment layers and you can add your own editing too, and that will clip right in there and only affect the sky. So for example, curves, you can add some of that. You can add whatever you like if you want to, but you don't have to. You don't have to be an expert with editing with these. You just simply make sure your brush settings are the same as mine. Normal, 100% opacity, 25% flow, and you can click on these black layer masks or the white layer mask for the sky. If you want to add some blur and a shallow depth of field to the sky, come down here to the box underneath your sky layer where it says Smart Filters Gaussian Blur. Grab a nice big white brush and you can paint this on over the sky or any areas you wish to blur. If the blurring is a little bit too strong, then come down here and click on this little line with the little eyes where it says Gaussian Blur. Double click this and it will bring up the Gaussian Blur window. So you can just bring this up and down until it's the right level of blurring for your image and hit OK. And you can show and hide that painted on or painted off as you do with all the other layers. If you'd like to add a sky by hand without using the actions, if you'd like to do this completely manually, which is absolutely fine, so you need to open up your image in Photoshop, come up here to File and choose Place Embedded, locate the skies on your computer, make sure they're unzipped and select the sky you want to add. Resize and position this to suit your image. Let's just pop it there for now. And what you'll notice is this is a solid layer. So you want to come up here where it says normal on the blend mode and change this to darken. You can also play with multiply and other overlay modes until you get the one that's right for you, but I find, especially if it's a white sky, darken is the best one to go for. Come down here on this little box. This is the layer mask edition, little box with a circle inside, and click on this one. That's added a layer mask for you, so you can edit this layer mask with black to hide and white to show. What I like to do is paint the sky needs to kind of come off all these areas. So first I'm just going to take the opacity down a little bit here, because that is a little bit too much sky. So we want to just take the opacity down and change this to suit your image. So about there. Now we can see the sky is going over quite a few areas on this image, so we're going to need to brush those off using a black brush. And do take your time with this, especially on the lighter areas. If you have darker areas in the image, the sky really is not going to show over those on the darken blend mode. And again, you can use Photoshop subject selection tools or quick selection to make selections of areas that you don't want the sky to show, and you can use this to brush the sky off nice and easily. So click on the background, come up here to select and choose subject. You can also choose sky, and it really does depend on what Photoshop thinks is a sky. It's made a pretty accurate selection here, which is quite good. Now what I'd like to do is paint the sky off areas, not on. So I'm going to come up here and select inverse. That basically selects everything but the sky. So a nice big black brush, and I'm just going to bring this around to all of these areas here. Photoshop has done a pretty good job selecting that sky, because Photoshop has its own sky overlays that it provides for users to be able to add into their images. Now we can see here a few little bits have been missed, so I'm going to go back into the white brush to paint the sky back on again. I'm just going to bring it into these areas where the sky is meant to be showing. And of course it's kind of going over, so it really is kind of switching between a black and a white brush to show and hide. So I'm going to use black to hide and just dab this in here. You can switch between black and white on your keyboard using X, which saves you clicking over here. So you can edit with one hand on the keyboard and one hand on your computer. So it looks there that we have this kind of area of the boat that's being hidden because it's very, very white. So if you come up here onto your magic wand and choose quick selection, this can be really helpful in making a quick selection of an area. If it hasn't come in properly, I also like to use up here on the lasso tool, the magnetic lasso. Hold down shift to make more than one selection, and you can bring this along any area that you wish to select. And it kind of snaps into place. So it's this area here that I'm struggling with. So I'm just making a little selection of here to help with my masking of the sky. So turn the sky back on again by using the little eye. And now I can use the black brush to take it off completely. Okay, and if you want to unlink the layer mask and click on the sky, you can use the move tool to reposition and transform this however you think it suits your image. And if you aren't sure about one sky, you can delete it and add another until you're happy. Or if you'd like to keep the selection you've made, because the sky is a smart object, see this little icon here, you can double click this and it just opens up the sky. Come up here to File, choose Place Embedded. And you can replace this with a different sky. Right click, flatten, Control or Command S to save, and this will save it back to the image as a completely different sky. And you can do this as many times as you like, and sometimes it's a bit, even though it seems a bit complicated if you're not used to Photoshop, it's actually a fast way of doing it rather than continuously adding to your layer mask for new skies. So I hope you enjoy adding these beautiful breezy blue skies to your image and playing with the actions included. I'm Lauren, thanks for watching.